All right, so please open up your note packet. We are on photosynthesis. So towards the end, there's only a couple slides left. All right, so to just sort of, all right guys, be quiet and listen please. So, yeah, we're towards the end of that. Last page maybe. So to recap where we are, this unit is cells. We started off by talking about microscopes. Then we went into cells and all the organelles. Then we went into cell processes. We talked about osmosis and diffusion. And now we're finishing up this unit with two more cell processes, photosynthesis and respiration. This is really quick. There's only a few slides, a couple practice worksheets. That's why we're going to have our quiz on Monday on photosynthesis and respiration. It's really, there's not a whole lot to cover here. So today we'll talk about photosynthesis. So as you guys said earlier, photosynthesis is using sun. When plants use sunlight to make food for themselves. That's like a very basic understanding of photosynthesis. We're going to get into some more details now. I know that's what you learned probably in elementary school, and that's correct. It's just not a complete understanding. So let's start off here. Photosynthesis. What we're going to do is go over what we call the chemical equation for photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is a chemical reaction that happens. It happens in, Jaden, pay attention. It happens in certain types of living things. And like any chemical reaction, certain molecules get split up. Their atoms get rearranged to form new substances. That's what a chemical reaction is. And we can talk about a chemical reaction by writing out the equation of what the starting point is, what the ingredients are, and what they end up with at the end. So to start off with photosynthesis, it needs three things. In order for photosynthesis to happen, it needs three things. You told me one at the beginning of class as you answered the question of the day. What is it, Kayla?
Sun.
Yeah, it needs light. Now, we're just going to say light. We're not necessarily going to say sun because photosynthesis can take place with artificial light, but it needs a source of energy, which is light in photosynthesis. So you have to have light. Without light, there is no photosynthesis. That's the first part. Then we need two sort of ingredients, or sometimes we might call them raw materials. Lonnie?
H2O.
Yeah. Plants need, what does that mean?
Water.
Yeah, so here's another point to make, is that when we talk about water as a compound, okay, and so we can use either symbols for water or we can write out the word water, but you should know both. So H2O, I'm sure you know, is water. So it does need water. How does the plant get this water? So it gets sunlight from the sun. How does it get the water? Dan?
The roots suck it up from the soil.
Yeah, it gets it through the soil. The roots of a plant are adapted to absorbing water from the soil. Water from the soil goes into the plant's roots because of osmosis, and then that water gets transferred up to the leaves of the plant so that it can be used in photosynthesis. So we need light, we need water. We need one more thing. This is a gas that's needed for photosynthesis. Michael? Carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide. Now, do you know what the symbol for carbon dioxide is? CO2. Yes, CO2. That's carbon dioxide.
What is the little 2 there?
What these symbols actually mean is that, like for water, you have one oxygen atom gets bonded to 2 hydrogen atoms. In CO2, one carbon gets bonded to 2 of those oxygen. It tells you how many of each atom make that compound. All right, so we have water. Where does the carbon dioxide come from? Karina?
The air.
Yeah, the air. There's carbon dioxide in the air. And so plants absorb some of that carbon dioxide into their leaves. So carbon dioxide from the air, they get water through their roots, they get sunlight from the sun. And if all those things are there, in the chloroplast of plant cells, a chemical reaction can happen. And those atoms can be transformed into a new combination. And that's what's on this side of the arrow. The arrow means the reaction took place. So what is it? What does photosynthesis result in? What's the end product? There's only two things. Charmy? Yeah, and so that's what you said in elementary school probably. Plants make their own food. But what does that mean? What do they make? Little pizzas and veggie burgers and tater tots? No. They don't. They make one specific molecule is what they make. And we call it food because they use it for energy. But they only make one specific thing. You know what it is, Charmy? Anyone know what they actually do make? Tim?
Sugar.
You're getting closer. It is a certain type of sugar, Grace. Yeah, they make a sugar called glucose. And glucose also has a chemical symbol. It's C6H12O6. So obviously, if you compare glucose to carbon dioxide, it's a larger molecule. Okay? But it's made of, what are the three elements it's made out of? What is C? Carbon, oxygen, and hydrogen. They are the same things you had over here. Okay, the hydrogen and the glucose came from the water. The oxygen came from the water. Okay, the carbon came from the carbon dioxide. So you have all the ingredients. You're just rearranging those pieces into a new form. It's like if you had a few little simple little Lego vehicles and you took them all apart, and with those same blocks you built a larger Lego vehicle. It's still the same blocks, you've just rearranged them into a new pattern, and you make glucose. So yes, so we're no longer going to say plants make their own food. We want to say plants make glucose. That's the better way to say it. And then there's one waste product that's produced. You know what it is, Zach? O2? Yeah, oxygen. Okay, so they make oxygen. Oh, isn't that?
Yeah. Are we gonna watch the photosynthesis?
We will. All right, so what we call, this is what we call the equation for photosynthesis. Light plus water plus carbon dioxide produces glucose and oxygen. And that glucose is the food. That's going to go to the cells of a plant. They can break it down. They can get energy out of it. That's what we need by food. All right, a couple other terms we need to know, though. When we have a chemical reaction taking place, we call the stuff on the left side of the arrow, kind of the ingredients, we call that the reactants. Those things are reacting. And the things on the right side of the arrow, the things that are made, are called the products. So the reactants on the left, the products on the right. So, the ultimate goal of photosynthesis for the plant is to produce glucose. Yeah, let's say glucose. So, you guys are going to have to be able to write out this equation on your quiz on Monday. You're going to have to memorize it. It's not really that complicated, but
Are we gonna have to know the thing for
yes, yes. You have to know all of that. All right. So I got a couple things. I'm going to show you a photosynthesis song, then we'll watch the brain pop.